What if the glory of God is sometimes revealed not to impress crowds, but to strengthen faith before suffering? What if the brightest moment comes just before the darkest road? What if God reveals who Jesus truly is, so we will trust him when everything else becomes unclear? In Luke chapter 9, Jesus takes Peter, James, and John up a mountain to pray. This detail matters. Throughout the gospel, moments of deep revelation are often connected to prayer. Jesus does not go up the mountain to perform a miracle or teach a crowd. He goes to pray. And it is in that quiet, intentional communion with the Father that something extraordinary happens. As Jesus prays, his appearance changes. His face becomes radiant. His clothes turn dazzling white, brighter than anything on earth. This is not a change of costume. It is a revelation of identity. What has always been true is now briefly made visible. The glory that was veiled in human flesh shines through. The disciples are witnessing what theologians later call the Transfiguration. But for them, this is not a theological concept. It is overwhelming reality. The Jesus they have walked with, eaten with, questioned and followed is suddenly revealed as more than they imagined. Then two figures appear, Moses and Elijah, speaking with Jesus about his departure, which he is about to bring to fulfillment in Jerusalem. This conversation is significant. Moses represents the law. Elijah represents the prophets. Together they embody the entire story of Israel. And here they are, speaking with Jesus, affirming that his mission, his coming, suffering and death, is not a failure of God's plan, but the fulfillment of it. Notice the topic of their conversation. They are not discussing Jesus' miracles. They are not celebrating his popularity. They are speaking about his departure, his suffering, his death, his exodus. Even in glory, the cross is not forgotten. This moment reveals something essential about God's way. Glory and suffering are not opposites in the kingdom of God. They are connected. The Transfiguration does not replace the cross, it prepares the disciples for it. Peter, overwhelmed by what he sees, speaks without fully understanding. He suggests building shelters for Jesus, Moses, and Elijah. His instinct is understandable. He wants to preserve the moment. He wants to stay on the mountain. He wants to hold on to glory and avoid what lies ahead. This is a very human response. When life feels clear, when faith feels strong, we want to remain there. We want to freeze the moment. But Jesus does not come to stay on the mountain. He comes to go back down, to suffering, rejection, and sacrifice. While Peter is still speaking, a cloud appears and covers them. In Scripture, the cloud often represents the presence of God. The disciples are afraid as they enter it. Then a voice speaks from the cloud. "This is my Son, whom I have chosen. Listen to him." This is the heart of the passage. God does not say, "Look at him," though his glory is visible. He does not say, "Build something for him." He says, "Listen to him." At this point in Luke's Gospel, Jesus has just predicted his death and spoken about taking up the cross. The disciples are confused. Expectations are collapsing. The voice from heaven confirms Jesus' identity and authority precisely when his message becomes hardest to accept. Listen to him is not just encouragement, it is correction. God is directing the disciples away from their own assumptions and toward obedience. When the voice stops, Jesus is found alone. Moses and Elijah are gone. The law and the prophets fade from view, leaving Christ at the center. This is not accidental. It communicates that Jesus is not one voice among many. He is the fulfillment toward which all others point. The disciples descend the mountain in silence, shaken and reflective. They do not immediately understand what they have seen. But this moment will stay with them. Later, when Jesus is arrested. Later, when he is mocked and crucified. Later, when fear threatens to overwhelm them. They will remember the mountain. The Transfiguration shows us that God sometimes reveals his glory not to remove suffering, but to prepare us to endure it. The mountain is not the destination. It is preparation for the valley. For us today, this story speaks deeply into seasons of confusion and hardship. There are moments when God feels distant, when obedience feels costly, when faith feels fragile. In those times, we may wish for dramatic signs or visible glory, but God often gives us something quieter and stronger. Assurance of who Jesus is. The Transfiguration reminds us that Jesus is not just a teacher who inspires. He is the Son of God who fulfills the story of redemption. His authority does not depend on circumstances. His identity does not change when the path becomes difficult. It also teaches us that spiritual clarity often comes through prayer. Jesus was praying when his glory was revealed. Prayer is not an escape from reality. It is the place where reality is rightly seen. This passage challenges us to examine our own desires. Do we seek Jesus for the mountaintop experiences alone, or are we willing to follow him down into ordinary, painful, demanding obedience? Peter wanted to stay. Jesus chose to go. That choice is the center of the gospel. The voice from heaven still speaks today, not through clouds and thunder, but through scripture and the quiet conviction of the Spirit. This is my Son, listen to him. Listening to Jesus means trusting his words even when they challenge us. It means believing that the way of the cross leads to life. It means following him not only when his glory is visible, but when his path leads through suffering. The Transfiguration also gives us hope. It reminds us that suffering does not have the final word. Glory is real. Resurrection is coming. The radiance the disciples glimpsed on the mountain is the same glory that will one day fill all things. But until then, we walk by faith. Jesus descends the mountain knowing what awaits him, and still he goes forward. His obedience flows from his identity. He knows who he is. He knows who the Father is. And he knows that the path of surrender leads to redemption. For anyone walking through uncertainty, fear, or obedience that feels costly, this story offers reassurance. God sees the end from the beginning. The cross is not the end. Glory follows suffering. And when the road becomes hard, we are invited to remember the mountain, not to escape the valley, but to trust Jesus within it. Thank you for watching this video. If this message encouraged you or gave you clarity, please like the video, follow the Holy Path Insights channel, and share this reflection with someone who may need strength today. Your support helps us continue sharing thoughtful insights into the life and teachings of Jesus.